Okay, we're getting a slight bounce on the market today. It's a very slight bounce. I mean, I must say, if you look at the bubbles, some are green. Bitcoin's at 83,000. The Nasdaq's about to open and it's like 6 points up or something like that. So it's a very slight bounce on the market. And this is after on Friday we had a bounce on the Nasdaq, as you can see here, which is quite a strong bounce, but it was on low volume. I've got a word of caution for anyone trading these bounces with any hope. The pain ain't over. And if you're into the market, into these bounces now, either you're a trader or you're going to get wiped. This is not the time to be buying the bounces. I'm going to show you exactly why I say that. I'm going to show you when the time will be to start buying those bounces. So that sounds good to you. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get to 1.16 million subscribers. Please hurry, do it. Let's get on with the show, guys. GM fellows, GM. I see everybody in the chat. Nuruddin, I see you. And Andre Tudor, I see you right here, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Are you commenting in the chat? When you can just come and talk live on the show, you don't have to comment in the chat, bro. Bruno says it's the best show on YouTube. Bruno knows what he's talking about. Yo, lovely Banter fam. Paul says hello. Paul Hallelujah says theta. Subscribe to channel road to 1.2 million followers. We've got more than 1.2 million followers. Anyway, listen, if we are getting a bounce, as you know, or slight bounce. We had a slight bounce on Friday. Nasdaq pretty flat today. We're entering a big week this week. I wouldn't be trading bounces this week. I wouldn't be trading bounces this week because I believe that if you do trade bounces this week, I think you're going to get wrecked. And I'm going to show you exactly why I think you're going to get wrecked and when the right time to actually start buying is and why now is probably the wrong time to start buying. You know me. I'm an optimist. I'm always positive. I always say buy. But you know, sometimes we've got to be realistic as well and just look at what the big picture is. So listen, if that sounds good to you, I need you guys to obliterate the like button. It's St. Patrick's Day. So a lot of people it is St. Patrick's Day today, right? Has everyone wished the Irishman happy St. Patrick's Day? We should go to an Irish pub tonight. I promise you, Irish pubs on St. Patrick's Day are amazing. Amazing. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on in the market. We can talk about St. Patrick's Day later. Actually, let's phone the Irishman. But he's in Dubai. He probably won't answer the call. Let's phone him quickly. Let's phone him. I promise you we will get on to market talk. He won't answer. It's probably in a pub. Probably is in a pub, right? He's in a pub. He won't answer. All right, let's get on with the market talk. As I mentioned, green, a little bit of green, not a lot of green. I mean, it's crazy if you've been watching what's going on the weekends. The weekends have become crazy because the issue is that there's so little interest in crypto and so few people in crypto that there's no liquidity in the markets. And so weekends have become a very, very, very easy time to start manipulating the markets. So what we used to do is we used to get these big nukes on weekends. It used to happen on Friday. Remember Trump's tariff war, even the Bybit hack, you could say, the Melania token, the Trump token. Those all used to happen on Fridays on low liquidity weekends. Now we have another thing that happens on weekends. We start the weekends pretty good. And then what happens is on the Sunday, we either dump or we pump and they start liquidating people. This week, oh, it's Irishman. Irishman.
What's up?
I just realized we haven't wished you a happy St. Patrick's Day, bro.
Why is everyone calling me? 𝗵𝗲 also called me on this show, wishing me happy St. Patrick's Day.
Aren't you Irish?
I am.
So are you not celebrating St. Patrick's Day, sir?
I am. You'll figure that for Irish people, it's actually not as big a thing. The US people tend to do it better.
Okay, well, on behalf of the entire Banter fam that's currently watching you live, we want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day, sir.
Thank you. I wish you many monies and good trades in the next couple of weeks for everyone.
Thank you, sir. You see, so we do have an Irishman on our team. He runs front runners, great guy. Anyway, so as I was saying, as you can see, on Sundays, the market starts to move. And the market has got such low volume at the moment that right now, there was this whale that opened like a $380 million short on Bitcoin. And what happened was a bunch of people actually got together and decided to try and liquidate him. They said like a hyper liquid whale shorted $300 million worth of Bitcoin. And now they rallied a bunch of people to try and get him liquidated. Now, they didn't manage to get him liquidated, but they did manage to move the market by like $1,000 in Bitcoin. And that just shows you how illiquid the market actually is. Right now, if you're a trader, I mean, it's a trader's paradise because stuff keeps moving. But if you're an investor, you could easily get shaken out. Just be careful. Just be careful if you're playing the markets now in these low volume periods, because you could actually land up getting obliterated. Right now, what's driving the markets is actually the stock markets, because it's all about macro at the moment, right? And on Friday, we had a very good bounce from the Nasdaq. If you look at what happened on the Nasdaq over here, we bounced from about here. We bounced from, let's just get a ruler here. We bounced from here to here. So we bounced by like 2.19%. Very, very, very strong recovery. Thing is, the low recovery was on very low volume, which basically means that it's not a very convincing recovery, right? And while the RSIs are at the bottom on the daily, on the weekly, not like as much on the bottom, and certainly haven't got to a point where they need to turn. And that says to me that even though we've had a massive correction now in equities, or massive correction, we've had a 10% correction in equities, and the markets don't look very healthy, right? And specifically, when you look at the Mag 7, if you look at the Mag 7, the Magnificent 7, which is Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, Amazon, Google, and Apple, what you can see is they've broken down below this trend line, and it's been quite brutal on the Magnificent 7. And the reason why it's been brutal on them is because they were the tokens, or the stocks that actually got us to these levels, right? So think about it like this, right? All the returns of the S&P came from the Magnificent 7 last year, or in the last year. And now these guys are coming back to levels. I mean, they're back at 2024 levels, June 2024 levels. So they've taken about a 6-month correction. And a lot of people are starting to panic. I don't think that this pain is over. And the reason why I don't think that this pain is over is very, very, very simple, right? And I tweeted about it. I said, look, if Trump has a job to do, and his job is to cool markets to such an extent that people are scared, to cool markets to such an extent that Powell actually lowers the interest rates, and doesn't only lower the interest rates by 0.25 basis points, by 25 bips. You want Powell to lower by lots of bips, right? Because they need to refinance the debt. And so if that's the case, I don't think that enough damage has been done. In fact, I don't think anything has been done if the markets recover now. Because if the markets go down 10%, but then they recover, this, like everybody's been saying, this has been a very quick correction, right? This is one of the fastest corrections ever. Here are all the times the S&P went from all-time highs down 10%, and you can see how quick this was in terms of number of days. It was a very quick correction. And the thing with a quick correction is that a quick correction doesn't do enough pain to stop people long-term investing and to cool down the markets long-term, right? So I don't think that the job is done. And I do actually believe that there is a job to be done, because Elon tweeted about this. He said US interest expense to the government, which was a tweet that 𝗬𝗏 published. He said it's $1.2 trillion. And Elon said, we're actually fixing this problem. Now, how do you fix the problem? One is you cut spend, right? So you reduce the budget deficit, you reduce the debt load. The second thing that you do is you reduce interest rates. This is work in progress. And this gets me to believe that this is Trump's big plan. Trump's big plan is to get interest rates down. And he's not talking about getting interest rates down by 25 basis points. And that's why I think that even if the market starts to recover now, even if we get a bounce in the S&P now, I don't trust this bounce, because the damage is not done yet. And what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for one more leg down. I'm waiting for people to come into the market. And as you can see, the wealthy investors are now rushing back into US stocks. You can see it over here. They're buying the dip. And in order to inflict most pain, we're then going to get another leg down. And that's my thesis here. My thesis here is the pain is not done. There's going to be one more leg down. We should brace ourselves for one more leg down. And what's happening now is we must take a breath. It's like when you know your head's getting dunked underwater, and your head's been dunked underwater. And our heads have been dunked underwater for the last month. It's been terrible. Then you get a chance to breathe again before you know your head's going to be dunked again. This is what that breath is. I think we're going to have one more violent leg down to shake people up. Remember, these guys are on a mission, right? These guys are on a mission. They are on a mission to get consumer sentiment down. And it's starting to work, as you can see. It really is starting to work. You can see over here, this is the percentage of consumers that think business conditions are worsening. And you can see that's getting worse here. This shows a chart that shows that Americans are pessimistic about the future, specifically around inflation. We also see that the housing market, which is one of the most stubborn markets, is actually starting to weaken right now, right? So these guys aren't watching the stock markets. In fact, they are watching the stock markets. And what they're saying is, we don't really care about the stock markets. The reason why we don't care about the stock markets, pretty simple, right? Trump's approval polls are the highest that they've been. NBC polls show 47% approve of Trump, while 44% believe America is heading in the right direction. The highest right track number since 2004, believe it or not, right? Imagine, this reminds me of my days at school, when I used to be at school. And then I used to, like, in tests, I used to get 44%, and the teacher used to say, this is like your highest mark. This is like you're the most on the right track you've ever been. That's how bad my grades were at school. Anyway, going back to it, it's a true story. My grades at school were actually much worse than this. But what you can see here is that Trump's approval rating is good. You know why? Because the people that actually matter are not the billionaires or not the people that have stocks. Did you know that there's like a statistic that like a huge percentage of Americans, like 80% or something, couldn't come up with $1,000 today if there was an emergency? The majority of Americans don't have stocks, and all they want is they want inflation to go down and government spending to go down. And so they back what Trump is actually doing. And so they're not looking at the markets, or they are looking at the markets, but this is what they're thinking about the markets.
Let's talk about what happened in the stock market this week. Worst week for the market in 2 years. Does that worry you, Mr. Secretary?
Not at all. I've been in the investment business for 35 years, and I can tell you that corrections are healthy, they're normal. What's not healthy is straight up, that you get these euphoric markets. That's how you get a financial crisis. It would have been much healthier if someone had put the brakes on in 06, 07. We wouldn't have had the problems in 08. So I'm not worried about the market.
Let's talk about what happened.
So you see, they're watching the markets, but they're not worried about the markets. They're looking at the big picture. They're looking at reducing inflation. They're looking at bringing down interest rates. That's the agenda. So if we get a bounce here, avoid the bounce. I don't think it's a real bounce. And I think they're going to inflict a lot more pain. And I think you just need to be patient. You need to run this race patient until probably around end of May or something like that, when I think it's all going to happen. Anyway, so that is what I think is going to happen. Don't get caught into the bounce. Next, let's talk about this. It's quite a big week this week. We do have an FOMC meeting this week. We're definitely not going to get a rate cut, that's for sure. If you look at the probabilities of a rate cut, close to zero, as you can see over here. Like 99% chance there's no rate cut. But maybe the Fed will cut QT. So it's actually like this Wednesday, as much as like it sounds like a non-event, it's actually quite a big event, because maybe the Fed will actually end QT in this Fed meeting. Also, what they could do in this Fed meeting, there's a dot plot this meeting. So we need to watch the dot plot. Why? Because the dot plot will tell us how much the Fed officials believe that inflation is going to come down, or an interest is going to come down relative to the last meeting. And the delta between this meeting and the last meeting is really what you want to be looking at. So this Wednesday, we will be live when it happens. I'll be live here with the Banter fam. We'll be having some fun. We'll be drinking some whiskeys, talking some shit, and just watching what Powell actually does. So that'll be on Wednesday. The best we can hope for is that the Fed will actually end QT. And I think that what you need to watch out for here is, if we get a bullish FOMC, then I think Trump will come to the rescue. And what he'll do is he'll create something bearish. It's been happening every time. Every time we get good news, Trump comes with tariff, right? So like you see the markets pump here, then Trump announces tariffs. Markets pump here, Trump announces tariff. They've got to keep the markets down. You've got to be able to see what's going on here. They're trying to keep markets down. Keep your eye on what's going on here. They're trying to keep the markets down. That's exactly what they're going to do. I reckon the announcement on Wednesday will be something along the lines of this. If it's a bullish FOMC, they're going to say that peace talks have failed with Putin, and that's going to send the markets down again. Mark my words, something's going to happen. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but something will happen. Some other things happening this week. Big conference in New York. I don't think it's going to move markets, but nice to see so many good people at the Digital Asset Summit. It's called DAS. Big speakers. There were days when conferences could move markets. I don't think that this conference is going to move markets, but you do get a lot of people in New York, all going out to New York and speaking. And I think it seems like a very good conference. That's happening this week. Also, we have the NVIDIA, what's this called? The GTC, which is like their big AI conference. Watch out for the AI tokens. NVIDIA this is like the big event for NVIDIA. You can see that here it is. And usually when this happens, it pushes the price of NVIDIA up. So we need to watch what happens this time when this actually happens. Also, Solana starts trading on the CME today. Solana futures, Solana Sol futures start trading on the CME. It's not necessarily a good thing for price, because usually what happens is when the futures come out there's a whole bunch of shorters that actually go and short the futures. So be careful. That just keep your eye on Solana, even though I think it's good progress because we're now getting Solana's futures, Solana CME group is particular sold futures on the CME. I do want to talk about two tokens that actually are doing pretty well. One of them is DeBridge. Spoken about DeBridge a lot, as you guys know. I think it's one of my favorite tokens. It's definitely my favorite bridge, and I keep sending you guys to this bridge, right? Why? Because it's literally the bridge where you can swap any currency on any chain to any currency on any chain. Whilst you do that, number one, happens very, very quickly. Number two, you also earn points for the airdrop. Now, again, if you are trying to swap money from one chain to another or send money from one chain to another, then you should be using DeBridge. Let me show you why. Because the last time that they did, they gave a massive airdrop, and that was the first airdrop. Let me show you. Now there's a second airdrop that's coming, and you could still make money by actually just using this thing over here. Do we have DeBridge here? Yeah, so you just use DeBridge over here. Just click on the DeBridge link here. Use that. You'll end up earning points towards the airdrop. Every time you want to do a transaction, you can, like here, you can move USDC from Ethereum to, I don't know, like whatever you want. Any token on any chain to any token on any chain. Now, DeBridge, if you look at this, the price has not only been going up in this down market, but also it's been stable since the day of launch. It launched at about 30 cents and it's staying stable at about 30 cents, which in this market is, I think, pretty good going, right? And if you look, I've said this for a long time, but everybody now is starting to talk about how great DeBridge actually is, right? So you can see that 𝗨𝗦𝗗𝗘𝗧 actually called it the golden gate of DeBridge. And you can see that this purple is the market share of this bridge. Trust me, guys, use this bridge. You will earn points for free. You will earn points in the next DeBridge airdrop. Just use the link below because then it gives us points as well. But also just a great bridge and actually a great investment and actually one of my biggest holdings. I'll tell you, one of my biggest holdings. Another one that's probably worth watching, I don't know if you guys saw, but Telegram, TON, had a massive bounce yesterday. And that is because the founder, 𝗵𝗂𝗕𝗚𝗕, he's out of jail. He's been out of jail for a while, but now he's actually allowed to leave France and actually go back to Dubai where he actually lives. So it's not over yet, by the way. It's not over yet. He even says here in the thing, he says, look, as you may have heard, I've returned to Dubai after spending several months in France due to an investigation related to the activity of criminals on Telegram. The process is ongoing, but it feels good to be home. So he's been sent home, or been sent to Dubai. So he's no longer in France. But I still think that his approach will be kind of conservative. Like I don't think they'll do like crazy market manipulation stuff and whatever else, because I think that he's still like under a watchful eye. And I think he just wants this cloud to actually move away. But good to see that he's gone, and that maybe brought in some renewed vigor for the TON token. So yeah, that is the alpha for today. I've kept it short and I've kept it sweet because you guys said to me, look, it's St. Patrick's Day. We want to go and drink. We want to go to the Irish pubs. We want to go and celebrate with the Irishmen. So you can go celebrate with the Irishmen. If you're a whale, so just quickly, if you are a whale and you want to stand a chance to win, let me just see exactly. I need to make sure my notes are right here. You want to win $1 million, right? No, you can't win $1 million. Come on. But there's a Bybit competition for people that are going to trade for whales, right? It's for whales. So this is only for whales. This is for people. Participants must achieve a trading volume of at least $1 million to qualify for the prize pool. If that interests you, there is a link below to subscribe. I'm going to do it, but I don't know. Am I going to get $1 million of trading volume in this market? Let's try. Anyway, I shall see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.